Gracious good day to one and all once again. 'Tis I, Norton the First, by grace of God, Emperor of the United States and Protector of Mexico. Back with you once again for Emperor Norton's fantastic history vlog. Today is August 12th, 2020, and it is our 148th day under COVID-19 restrictions. The weather is cooperating today, so we're coming to you from the lovely Imperial Gardens. Let's begin with something a little bit different today. We would like to extend both the Countess and myself, our Imperial congratulations to Senator Kamala Harris for her nomination to Vice President of the United States. Let's begin with our national days. It is Middle Child's Day. We were a middle child, come to think of it. Vinyl Record Day. Well, that's made a big comeback. Tower Records is back online only, though. Truck Driver Day. We owe a lot to our truck drivers. Wizard of Oz Day, because this is the day the movie premiered. International Youth Day, the future. World Elephant Day. We need to protect our elephants, definitely. And National Julienne Fries Day. Whenever I think of Julienne Fries, I can't help but think of Ron Popeil, the great huckster on TV. Of course, one of his first products was the Vegematic. It slices, it dices, it makes hundreds of Julienne fries. Check it out. He's most known for that rotisserie thing that he's been doing the last few years, but he sure invented a lot of gadgets, Ron Popeil did. I think he's still with us. Well, for our Florida Man segment today, Florida man sprays women with roach spray, breaks out nunchucks over loud music, cops say. Okay? Moving on to our local stories for today. We have two because of a significant oversight yesterday that we'll get to in a moment. But for our first item, we realize we so often do on John Ralston's wonderful book, This Date in San Francisco. Because on this date in 1904, that Rube Goldberg's first cartoon appears in the San Francisco Chronicle. Reuben Lucius Rube Goldberg was born in San Francisco on July 4th, 1883. Rube's mother having died when Rube was quite young, his father Max, a businessman and minor politician, was responsible for bringing up Rube and his siblings. Rube attended Lowell High School and then on Sutter Street at Octavia, which was and is college preparatory. As early as the age 4, Rube had shown aptitude for drawing, possibly inspired by humorous Bill Nye's History of the United States. And although at Lowell he was expected to study for entrance to the University of California, Berkeley, he got sidetracked. Rube's announcement at the age of 16 that he wanted to be an artist precipitated a crisis. For the honor of the family, don't do this awful thing, Rube, pleaded Father Max. Think of the shame you are heaping upon us. Think of how I'm going to feel when I say to somebody, "This is my son," and then a long-haired freak steps forward. Rube was adamant. I want to be an artist. When people come to the house, I'll hide in the cellar, and I promise that every time I have a quarter, I'll get a haircut. Max tried a different tack. The engineer John Hayes Hammond having been hired by the Guggenheim family to reputed $1 million annually, Max drew an analogy between studying mining engineering and becoming a draftsman, and Rube's artistic aspirations. Pretending to give in, he suggested that Rube learn mining engineering, after which he might study art in Europe. Only partly convinced, Rube matriculated at Berkeley. Again, he got sidetracked drawing for a campus humor magazine, The Pelican. Mining engineering, he realized, was a subterfuge. He did get his degree from Berkeley School of Engineering. Out of college, Rube got a draftsman job for San Francisco city engineer Thomas P. Woodward, a friend of Max's. He earned $100 per month mapping sewer pipes and water mains, which was as interesting as it sounds, he says. Rube Simpson, wait a minute, I got a little off there. Woodward thought he was nuts, turning down $150 a month someday. The next day, Rube saw Chronicle city editor Ernest Simpson, whose son had seen Rube's work on the Pelican. "All right," said Simpson, "I'll take you on. The figure will be $8 a week, and you can start work tomorrow." Rube was elated. "I haven't much money, but I'm delighted to pay the paper $8 a week for letting me draw pictures in the art department." "Oh, you don't pay us," said Simpson. "We pay you $8. Simpson told Rube to report to Mr. Bunker, the art department director. Rube's elation would be paid for his work, that he would be paid for his work, was tempered by the sobering realization that he didn't know what he was supposed to do. After thinking a couple of hours, he took a board, penciled a sketch for the sports page, The Fan Kid. Simpson said unenthusiastically he'd run it. He would later go on to draw his famous comic strip, to which he's still famous for to this day, of the contraptions, to do very complicated contraptions showing his engineering background, to do very simple tasks. And if you ever see videos on the YouTube where this is hosted, you may see people doing things where, like, a ball makes a book fall over, which lights a match, and that boils water to create steam that causes something to fall. It's very complicated. There was a wonderful exhibit on Rube Goldberg's work a couple of years ago at the Contemporary Jewish Museum, which was just wonderful. Our other story today is to correct an oversight from yesterday. Now, we are using numerous sources on this vlog now to show the births and deaths, as well as important things in history. But a very important death, especially in the Bay Area, but worldwide really, got left off yesterday. It was the anniversary of Robin Williams' death, who has significant ties to the Bay Area. So we're going to be reading next from an article by culturetrip.com by Gwen Purdom, published in 2018, and it pretty much sums up his life. I'll be injecting a few other things that got left out. For the rest of the world, Robin Williams was a comedic titan, and a tangle of energy personified, and a notorious Academy Award winner. To the people of the Bay Area, though, he was a neighbor, generous local legend, and one of their own. When Williams committed suicide in 2014, he left behind a legacy of classic movies and on-screen moments. His impact on San Francisco and the surrounding area, his longtime home, was more tangible. Williams' adopted hometown played a big role in his life. We'll begin with the Robin Williams Tunnel. A stretch of subterranean road that links San Francisco with Marin County is lined with rainbow paint over its entry. Once known as the Waldo Tunnel, it was officially renamed Robin Williams Tunnel in 2015 following a Change.org petition to honor the late comedian. The rainbows decorating the entrance were there before Williams' passing, but many point out that they're a fitting memorial, both because his famous character Mork of Ork and Mindy wore rainbow suspenders. Mork from Mork and Mindy, got that right, wore rainbow suspenders, and because the bright colors represent Williams' one-of-a-kind zeal. And of course, that tunnel leads you to Sausalito, but also Tiburon. Although born in Chicago prior to spending some childhood years in Michigan, Williams and his family moved to Marin County, enclave of Tiburon, overlooking the bay when he was 16. He went to high school in nearby Larkspur and attended both Claremont Men's College and College of Marin Community College before heading east for Juilliard. At the end of his life, he opted to skip the Hollywood scene and lived in Tiburon with his family as well. He also lived in Seacliff here in San Francisco. His neighbors there knew him as quiet, humble, and of course, funny. How could he not be? The Mrs. Doubtfire House at Broadway and Steiner in Pacific Heights is a popular tourist spot. At the time of Williams' passing, when mountains of stuffed animals, bouquets of flowers, and cards from fans piled the sidewalk outside, the then owner told news outlets he wouldn't move the tributes out of respect for the actor. The four-bedroom house sold in 2016 for $4.5 million. He was also seen a lot in the bike shops of Marin. He was an avid biker. He would often buy an expensive bike, ride it for a while, and then autograph it and donate it to charity. He was also a fixture when he first got started in the local comedy scene, playing many small clubs here in the Bay Area. I believe Holy City Zoo, the Valencia Rose, and Josie's Juice Joint, Don't quote me on that last one. I'm not sure he played there, but possibly did. He kicked off his comedy career here, also served as a big-time backer of the annual Comedy Day Showcase for up-and-coming comedians, held for 25 years on a grassy field in Golden Gate Park. The area was previously known as Sharon Meadow after park benefactor and U.S. Senator William Sharon, but only because the meadow sits next to the park department's Sharon building. Now, thanks to a popular campaign led by Comedy Day's organizers, the space is named for Williams as a way to honor his memory and thank him for his years of local support. If you've never seen the wonderful... Oops! Microphone fell. Sorry about that. We only do one take of this thing if at all possible. Where was I? Totally lost my frame of thought. Oh well, it'll come back to me at some point. But we miss Robin tremendously, and it's nice that there's so much in the Bay Area to honor him. I know it's because we had a connection with him somehow. Oh yes, now I remember. Of course, a huge fan of Robin Williams, and one of her inspirations, another Bay Area local, Margaret Cho, did a documentary a few years ago that can be found called Be Robin, and we have a small cameo in it. We finally remembered. Thank goodness. Well, let's move on with our other stories for today. We're taking up a lot of time, almost 12 minutes, with just the beginning part today, so we're going to take it a little light on the other history, births, and deaths. Because it was on this day, in 1851, that American inventor Isaac Singer patented the sewing machine. 1867, on this day, U.S. President Andrew Johnson defies Congress, suspending Secretary of War Edwin Stanton, leading to his unsuccessful. He was impeached in the House, but was not convicted in the Senate by, I believe, one vote, if I remember properly. But the big story for today, in 1869, was the day that we defied Congress. Oh wait, that's somebody else. Sorry. Is this day that we issued an edict abolishing the Democratic and Republican parties. We quote, being desirous of allaying the dissensions of party strife now existing within our realm, I do hereby dissolve and abolish the Democratic and Republican parties, and also do hereby decree the disenfranchisement and imprisonment for not more than 10 nor less than 5 years to all persons leading to any violation of this our imperial decree given by our imperial hand on this date, August 12, 1869. Still in effect, people. Don't forget, we are your emperor. Everything else is but an illusion. It was on this date in 1877 that Thomas Edison completed the first model for the phonograph, a device that recorded sound onto tinfoil cylinders. Later it would be wax and then vinyl after that. On this date in 1898, Hawaii is formally annexed to the United States. Got a little wind coming up. Hopefully it does not interfere with the audio. 1898, a peace protocol ending the Spanish-American War is signed. 1908, Henry Ford's company builds the first Model T car. 1930, Clarence Birdseye is granted a patent for his method of quick freezing food, patent 1773079A. Not B, A. 1945, Emperor Hirohito of Japan informs the imperial family that he's decided to surrender. The formal declaration will come the next day or two, the end of World War II. Excuse me. 1960, Echo 1, the first communications satellite, is launched by NASA. It was a huge mylar balloon, I mean gigantic. And they would bounce signals off of it back to the ground. And we remember seeing it passing overhead while camping at Joshua Tree one year back in the 1960s. I remember it well. On this date in 1972, the last American combat ground troops leave Vietnam. 1977, the Space Shuttle Enterprise makes its first atmospheric test flight. Now that was not a space shuttle, it was powered. Excuse me. It was basically a big glider to see if the lifting body concept on something that big would work, and it did. So it never actually flew, well, in space at least, but it was an important milestone in the development of the space shuttle. On this date in 2017, the Unite the Right March in Charlottesville took place, as in Virginia, and it turned violent when a car rammed protesters, killing one and injuring 19. On the same day, Trump says there is blame on both sides. Our births today. 1881, cinema pioneer Cecil B. DeMille. We are ready for our close-up. 1887, Erwin Schrödinger, I think I have that right, Austrian physicist and Nobel Prize laureate for his work in wave mechanics, but most people know him today for Schrödinger's cat. Is it or isn't it? 1929, former star of Hee Haw, country music star Buck Owens. 1930, George Soros. I'm still waiting for my check. 1930, Belgian mathematician Jacques Tits. I only mentioned that so I could say that word. 1936, John Poindexter. No, not that Poindexter. He was the U.S. Chief of Staff under Reagan. 1939, George Hamilton. Doesn't have a great tan. 1962, Miss Cleo, real name C. Dell Harris, American psychic Readers Network. Deaths today. 30 BC, Cleopatra. We miss her. 1827, William Blake, English poet and artist. 1944, Joseph P. Kennedy Jr. He was the firstborn of Rose and Joseph Kennedy Sr. First in line, really. He was the one that was supposed to be president, but he was killed in World War II, and that's when John Kennedy rose up in the ranks. Let's see. 1955, Thomas Mann, German writer, Dr. Faustus, won the Nobel Prize in 1929. 1982, one of the finest actors ever, Henry Fonda. And just yesterday, it was announced after the vlog was posted, we lost Trini Lopez to COVID-19. Well, that wraps it up for today's edition. Until we see you again, stay safe, stay inside, and stay healthy. If you do go outside, wear a damn mask. So many deaths could be prevented. And we just heard about a sheriff in Florida today who, despite a city council passing a law saying that his officers had to wear masks, ordered them not to. Murderer he is. And we mean that. Don't take unproven cures that might kill you or seriously affect your health. We are hearing reports of that again. Be smart and be kind to one another. Until we see you again, a gracious goodbye.